Welcome back to the CHG podcast, guys. My name is RJ from Casual Hardcore Gamers, and this week we have ourselves another special guest. I've been meaning to have her on the podcast for a long time. I have just been too lazy to do it, but I finally got her. We talked a little bit last weekend, and she's here. And this is actually I should have asked you before we started. I've never learned to say your name properly, your channel name properly. So you know what? You say it so we can all learn together.
It is Fiery Saggy.
Fiery Saggy. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So now I know. Now we all know. No excuses anymore. Fiery Saggy. Okay. Wait, did I say it wrong? Did I already
No,
say it wrong?
you
Okay.
say it right. You say it right.
Okay.
But you
Fiery
can just
Saggy.
say just say Fiery. That's cool
Fiery.
too.
Fiery. Yeah. I imagine Fiery is just fine. Fiery is the Saggy for your zodiac sign?
Yes.
Or
It
I knew it.
it is.
Can't resist the zodiac signs. Also, just real quick, just so you know, if you see me blurry on your end, don't worry, it'll come out just fine
Okay.
when we edit it. So, or when I edit it afterwards. So, don't worry if you can't see me that well.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, she's on the podcast this week. It's really exciting to have her here. We're going to talk about a few things, of myriad of all types of things that we'll really get into. But first, as always, we will start with what we are playing. And we'll start with you, Fiery, since you are the guest. And I'll have you let everyone know what you're playing on your channel, because you're also a content creator, and what you may be playing outside of that.
Okay. Well, on my channel, I just finished up the God of War series. So those videos are dropping this week and next week as well. So I just finished that up. Amazing story, because that's like the first time I ever played any type of God of War games. And so I just had a birthday, and my boyfriend surprised me with 2 more God of War games
Haha.
on the PS2, because he got me a PS2. So I'll
Nice.
definitely be playing those for the retro playlist that I have currently on my channel. But outside of that, when I'm offline, I'm currently into the Outer Worlds. It's similar to Fallout. I have never played Fallout, but with this particular game, so you got going on different missions. Of course, you got the main missions. So when you talk to like the NPCs, they got their little side missions going on. So basically, you're just this character. I guess you can call it a stranger.
Yeah.
That came from the Earth world, and then you ended up going into outer space to Halcyon. That's what they call it. And meet this guy named Phyllis. He was the one that saved your life, and then he just sends you out on a mission to basically, I wouldn't say overtake, but I guess you can say fight against the board, because they're trying to take control of everything. So that's basically the premise of that particular game. It's actually really cool. I've been on it today for a little while. I think I played it every day since I started it. But it's actually a really cool game. I am definitely enjoying it. So I might have to check out Fallout, because I definitely like this style of play. So this is kind of like my first time playing that sort of game. And then also I'll play like indie games too, outside of when if I'm not streaming or recording any content.
Especially bad games like Bad
Yes.
Boys, which I'll never let her live down. That was the best. It was the best. Her and I spoke on Friday, this past Friday. Was it that's the 15th, and talked for a good little while. And I brought up, I was like, "What the hell happened with that game?"
It was an experience. It was an experience
that was
playing that
something.
game.
That was something. You were yelling and hooping. And
The controls are just so bad.
you're
I was
like,
like,
these controls are so ass. I'm just like, that's
because
what I'm trying to tell you.
I missed that era. I missed that era, that PS2 era. So to be
Mm-hmm.
able to go back and play what it was like back then, Lord have mercy, it is actually a huge difference.
What?
It's a huge
Oh
difference.
no, it is. It makes you appreciate, games today,
Yeah.
and also the good games that came out in that time.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because you're playing Bad Boys, which came out like, I don't know, 2004 or something like that. But like, you're gonna play God of War soon, which came out in
Yeah.
2005,
Mm-hmm.
and right in the smack dab of the middle of where you had games that were all over the place in quality.
Mm-hmm.
Some were good, some were bad boys. So it's crazy when you play the gems of that era, and you're like, man, they really got it right. And
That's what's
yeah,
most exciting to me right there. It's like I can't wait to play the gems that came out on PS2.
Yeah, because they're there. They're definitely there. I mean, that was kind of where I started growing up, and becoming more aware of games in general was that era, and there were
Okay.
just bangers for me at least. I mean, what I like, it may not be what you particularly may like, but like, I played at the time, like I played, the Tony Hawk games were killing it with the Underground series. A lot of good wrestling games, Ratchet and Clank, Jack, Daxter, Sly Cooper, those were hitting their strides. SSX, Tricky, the snowboard games. So like, there were tons of bangers
Yeah, I
during
missed
that
that.
time
I
frame.
think I
And
stopped like it's like I got the Nintendo, then I had
hmm
the PS1, of course, and then I
hmm
had the Sega. But after that, that was it. After a little while, but then later on, I got a Wii, and then the DS. So I had those two, but it was
hmm
like the gap that was still there. But even when I had played games on those two, I still had a even bigger gap until
oh yeah, I bet.
2018. Yeah, when I met my boyfriend. So he's like definitely a huge gamer. So it was just the point of me playing one of his games that day just ended up bringing back that spark that I had as a kid, playing games and stuff. So, and then here I am 4 years
Yeah, here
in.
you are. What game was it, by the way, that got that spark back?
It was actually the 2K, the NBA 2K game. I forgot what year it was. I guess
Of
it's
all the
2018.
games, it
That's
was
the
a
one that
2K game?
that was the one that I tried out first.
Huh.
And then after that, we were playing like Wii bowling and things like that. So
Uh-huh.
it was so after playing that first initial game, then I definitely got the spark back. So I went and bought my PS4 and then started
That's
buying
crazy.
games.
2K got you back into the whole mold of gaming. That is,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would have not expected you to say 2K at all. Like at the last game I thought you were going to say was 2K. Like, because a lot of sports guys, they stay within just sports. I'm
Hmm.
not saying all of them, but a lot of, because I worked at GameStop and we saw a lot of those guys, a lot of people
Okay.
coming in, right? And a lot of them, they kind of just play those, play 2K, Madden, maybe they'll grab COD,
Hmm.
later on. But that's about it for a lot of those fellas. Like they just play, they play latest 2K, plays late Madden. That's about it,
But he
So,
plays
but
variety.
yeah, obviously your
So
BF though, I
yeah.
mean, he'd be playing everything if he got you, I mean, into it, back in, like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah,
like
definitely back
that's
in.
crazy. That's
And then
crazy. That's the
just
game.
schooling me on what I missed and
Hmm.
catching me up on what's current now. And
Oh man, there was a lot.
then he got me into watching content creators. So
Uh huh.
so it was definitely a good. It was good.
Yeah, like there's a lot to cut. I mean, with that time gap is nuts. Like, I mean, if you just look from the PS4 to now, even that time frame is just so
Yeah,
much has happened
yeah,
in
a
just those
lot has
7,
happened.
8 years. Well, no, I guess actually almost 10 years now. But yeah, it's just so much has happened. So I mean, you had even bigger gap. I can't imagine that. I will say, I hope he's told you, brushed you up on the old God of Wars,
Yes,
because they're nothing like
he's
the
been
the
telling me
current
about
ones.
the old ones. He definitely been telling me about them. So that's why I'm so eager to try them out, just to get a feel and get the backstory.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how you do, because you're going reverse. Most people have done it the other way around.
Hmm.
Like there were old fans that played the old ones, and they're now seeing how it's been revolutionized. But you're playing the revolution version. Now
Right.
you're going
Yeah.
back to what it used
Yeah.
to be. Just a lot of yelling. There's a lot of yelling in that game, like
Okay. Okay.
by Kratos. So he's yelling a lot. um,
Okay.
yeah, I think the biggest thing, I think the biggest thing that may get you more used to is it has almost not exactly a Diablo style view, but kind of like a Diablo
Okay.
style view.
Okay.
It's way more far back, and it's kind
Hmm.
of not completely top down, but a little bit top down.
Okay.
Um, so that's gonna be probably the biggest, like the camera change.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not an over the shoulder third person. It's like a more isometric, pseudo isometric view, because sometimes it kind of pans to right behind you,
Hmm.
sometimes it is over the head. So that might be the biggest thing, is kind of getting used to that, because
Yeah.
the combat's about the same. Press the
Okay.
same buttons, box and triangle,
Okay.
circled for dodge, but yeah, just that whole that whole style of view and everything is it's a lot different. So it's not going to be a smooth either. Just get ready for that.
Oh, believe me, I am prepared.
Get
I
ready for
am
that. If Bad Boys prepared you for for those controls, but it's still a fun game, a really fun game, rewarding. Um, Even the story is very one directional, it is really cool to see how it twists and turns
Yeah.
for him to get to his goal.
Hmm.
and yeah, it's really a fun game. It's really fun. I played them. I didn't play them at the time. I played them years afterwards myself.
Okay.
I played it when they were remastered on the PS3.
Oh, okay,
That's when I played.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, I also had to kind of take myself back a bit too, because by the time I played it, games had kind of evolved a bit. But yeah. So, but I hope you have fun with them. I really hope you do. You're playing them on the native PS2, so I mean, they should be fine. No issues, no bugs or anything like that. Because when they came out, they were like technical marvels for their time when they came out. I mean, it's kind of hard to think that now. But like, if you kind of take yourself back to 05 and 07, it apparently, they were top rated PS2 games, like game of the year is just not even a question about it. So God of War has always had a high bar.
I have to put my mind in that back in that 2000
you do
era.
That's the biggest thing is taking yourself back.
Yeah.
So this kind of ties into what I'm playing right now. I'm playing the first Crisis from back in the day. So it initially came out on PC. And actually, do you know about the history of Crisis by any chance?
No, I do not.
Okay, so with Crisis is an interesting one. So it initially came out on PC back in 2007. Okay, I believe it's 2007. At the time, Crisis was the most hardware intensive game ever made. It would completely destroy computers, GPUs, CPUs, graphic, everything. Processors couldn't handle it. I'm probably not saying the right parts, but just like your computers could not handle Crisis at like good settings or whatever have you, to the point where to figure out if your rig was good, the meme was, but can it run Crisis though? Like that was the meme. Can it run Crisis? Because if it could run Crisis and not crash, your computer was pretty mint at that point. And so, but the one I'm playing, so they eventually ported it to PlayStation back in like, I don't know, 2011 or something. And so I'm playing a port, but it's essentially from the port from that initial PC build. And so I'm playing that, and I also have to do the same. I have to, to be like, all right, time to time travel. Got to go back, not the 2011, but the 2007. Like I gotta go that far back, because this is just a port. It's not like they changed anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have to, like some things impress me, are actually impressive. Like the physics engine that they had for it is actually pretty impressive. Like you could shoot helicopters down, and when they come down, like they destroy things.
Oh wow!
That they hit, like they'll destroy a hut that they might come crashing down, or some building, or like you'll actually take damage if you're near it.
Oh wow!
Like, or it can land on you and you can die. Or just like there's a whole bunch of destructible buildings and environments, kind of like Battlefield Bad Company from back in the day, or just Battlefield in general. I mean, to a lesser degree, but it's just kind of interesting that like complete huts can be destroyed. You could destroy fire stations, and they'll actually do like the radius of the blast is actually is farther than you think. I have died many times to that blast because I'm like, I'm safe and I'm not safe. Claymores have a way farther blast radius than you think they are until you get killed by one. Yeah, and like in the AI is not bad. They actually do move around a lot. Like the enemy AI, it actually moves around. They don't just stick around, or they like, or not a simple like come out of cover, shoot, go out of cover, back and forth. Like if they're not in cover, they're moving around. They are moving, and it sucks because I'm trying to shoot you. It's like my aiming is not this bad, I swear. And when I think about the 2007, and I remember some games that I played back then, I'm like, yeah, graphically this is a lot better. This really is like it's because it takes place in a jungle or like an island jungle, and it really is pretty lush for the time. Like the actual some of the foliage actually does move with the wind and stuff like that. Like, and when you think about 2007, like that's actually pretty impressive because most foliage would just kind of just be stationary, and some of it is, but some of it does move, and I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty impressive. But those controls, though, those controls. Oh man, I had to take the years back. I was like, this is not smooth at all. And it makes me also reminds myself why. So one of the things about the PS3 controller that it got criticized for, that it wasn't really ergonomic. It really wasn't that good for aiming, for shooting, because it's a, what do they call it? Concurve. It's just kind of a more of a dome shape on the analog sticks, whereas the Xbox 360 was concave, so it kind of dipped a little bit, so your thumb can kind of like has a place to stick. Kind of. Yeah. If you look at your PS4, PS5 controller, it's that kind of thing where your thumb's kind of stuck in the middle. But the PS3 didn't have that. Neither did the PS2. It's more of a rounded shape.
It definitely
and you don't realize how much of a difference that makes for shooting and aiming until you have to go back.
Yeah.
And oh man, I'm like, I started playing this game. I was like, I'm not a first person shooter guy, but I'm not this bad at shooting games. Like I can't be. I played a shooter in my time. Like I know how to aim and shoot, and somehow I'm like missing left and right. I'm like, and I don't know if it's the me or the game, because like I looked at an enemy point blank with a shotgun, shot it, and nothing happened, and I'm like, what? Something's wrong here. This can't be me. It can't be me. I refuse to believe this is me. But yeah, it's still fun. I beat it last night. I'm just going through it again. I'm doing a little toughest walkthrough playthrough thing of my own. I'm playing on the toughest, what do they call it, Delta difficulty. But I'm doing it for trophies. I'm doing it because I just want to. There's a trophy for it, so I'm just getting through it. I got through the first 2 chapters. There's 10 chapters in all. I got through the first 2 last night, so maybe I'll finish it tonight. If not, I'll finish it by sometime this week. It's just because it's from that time frame. Like it's just like part of me doesn't really want to play it.
Yeah,
because it is pretty dated. It is pretty dated.
But at the same time, you can't help yourself.
I guess. But yeah, that's what I'm playing. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see you. I mean, obviously you're playing that God of War. I've been seeing you playing that, killing it. That's on, what they call it? Give me a challenge.
Yeah.
Is that the second to last one, or
that is? Yeah, it's the second to last one. Yeah.
Because isn't the one after that? Give me God of War.
Yeah, it's after that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I want to know how those are. I played on Give Me a Story because I looked at the trophy list and it was like not a damn difficulty trophy. I was like, you know where I'm going. Give me that story. I don't need a single challenge. Like for me, like, and I've always been this way too. I've always played on these. I think it's just because like I like being overpowered. I know it's not for everybody. It's not, but I do. Because it's like it's relaxing to me, and I play games to relax. I don't play games to be stressed. so you know, I mean, kudos to you guys that do it. I mean, hats off. But for me, because I'm playing games at like late in the evening, the last thing I need before I'm going to bed is to have my blood just boiling and just on ready to fight. I'm like, it's like 11 p.m. man. I don't need this. I just want to play the game. Just have fun. So yeah, but anyways, so we're going to move on, guys. I'm going to move on. So we have a few things we're going to kind of separate this podcast with. And so I already discussed it with Fiery, so she knows what's coming up. But so the first thing we're going to talk about is so for those who know her channel, or who will hopefully find her channel, she plays a lot of games on the toughest difficulty, or as tough as she can get it to, or that she can feasibly do. And it's not every day you find someone who does that, like willingly. So what I wanted to talk to you about was just, first of all, when did that start? Why do you do it? And why do you keep doing it? So we'll start with the first thing of like, so when did all this start? Did you, like when you came back into the gaming fold, did you immediately just go back to like, I'm going to play it on the hardest difficulty? So what? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't start that way.
This is how it started. So the first game I played was Tomb Raider. I think it was the second one that I played first, but I played that one on normal.
Okay.
And so my boyfriend has this thing where he likes to challenge me. So he would be like, why you went and played that on normal? You could have played that on hard. I was like, but I just got back into the gaming room. So I was like, man, you know what? So I beat the game on normal. So then I ended up playing the next Tomb Raider. So I ended up in the difficulty then at that point. And so I just played then. And I was like, all right, think I like playing at this particular level. So I ended up going back and playing that same Tomb Raider all over again, but this time I upped the difficulty. So that's what started it all.
So
So
your boyfriend, basically,
yes,
your boyfriend
basically
just
for the
just
challenge.
antagonizing,
Yes.
you, and
For the
just poking
challenge.
at you, and just like, hey,
Uh-huh.
you know, you can play on hard, right?
And
You
what's
can
so
play.
crazy? What's so crazy is like even though I done that, even when I play games that are like normal,
Uh,
like a normal difficulty, it just doesn't feel the same to me. I just feel like I'm just like beating the game too easy and I'm just like running right through it. So I just figured that in order to give myself more entertaining
hmm.
approach to it, I just took the hard approach to it, which I find like very rewarding, especially when I've died like a few times on certain parts of games that were like completely hard. But it just the feeling of being able to beat that part on hard as and getting the game and playing not gaining but beating the game actually on hard, like I love that feeling so much. I don't know why, but it just seems that that is more rewarding to me versus just playing on normal, because I do have a sister and she's like the total opposite. She will she won't even, I don't even think she'll play on normal. She'll play like on easy. Like she don't want the challenge or anything of that nature. So
This
so
guy right here.
she don't want it at all.
I don't want it either. You kidding me?
But she be beating the game so fast. But then she was like, because she always be like, "Well, I just beat it so fast." I was like, "Well, I mean, if you up the difficulty a little bit, I mean, it could take you a little minute to get through the game, but you won't have to worry about beating it so fast." But yeah, so that's really what started it all.
Hmm. Okay, so your boyfriend basically antagonizing you. So it seems to be
Yes,
you do it. What keeps you doing it is like you seem to get a dopamine hit when you
yes,
accomplish it
I
and
do.
you're done,
Mm-hmm.
which is the eyes out opposite for me because I mean I've had to play mini games on their toughest difficulties, like
Mm-hmm.
I did Uncharted, not the fourth one, but I did the first three all on
Okay.
their charted difficulty. I think they call it. No, sorry,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
crushing
did crushing. I
difficulty.
did crushing
Yeah, I
on
saw you
yours
do. You
too.
did that on live stream, didn't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I did the first three on crushing,
Okay.
and that the third one wasn't as bad, but the first two, there were parts where
Oh,
like,
they were worse.
oh
The
man,
first two were worse.
the first two games, I remember, especially the first one. I recall specific parts of the first one where it left me in tears. Like it was that bad. I mean, granted, I was still like 15 or 16 when I was doing it, but still, like
Okay.
I was left in. I was starting to get teared up. Like you know when you get frustrated, so mad, you
Yeah.
start to tear. You
Yeah.
know, that was
Mm-hmm.
me. Like at that point, but I got through it. I don't know how, but I got through it. And you know, and number two, what I forget the exact spots, but there were some really hard spots in number two as well. But I got through that, and in three I got through, but that was a bit easier. But and like so I did all that in Mass Effect. I played all three Mass Effects on Insanity mode, which
Oh,
is
okay.
utterly bonkers. I did on the original God of Wars actually. So when they remastered it, they added trophies, and then there was a trophy to
Mm-hmm.
beat the games on hard mode, which is not the hardest, but it is obviously a little bit up there. And God of
Okay.
War 3 had that same thing, and so I did that, and playing Crisis on Delta mode. I played Crisis 3 on Super Soldier mode, which is essentially the same thing. So the point is, I'm not a stranger to playing it on your big boy, your big girl modes. But for me, as soon as I'm done, like I'm just like breathing hard and heavy. I'm just breathing heavy, like I had a workout, and like dropped the controller, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I'm finally done. There's no dopamine. If anything, it puts me to sleep because I'm like so tired and exhausted. Like, so it's weird how that works because you're not the only person I know who does that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just you guys just probably a similar thing. It's just you get a better sense of challenge and what do they call that, success or whatever, when you finish it, when you're done, you
Yeah.
overcame a
Yeah.
huge challenge, and that's like a huge rush for you
Mm-hmm.
guys. Whereas opposed for me and probably your sister, if we got through that, it'd be like, all right, can I go to bed now? Because I am exhausted. um so it's interesting how that works, but it's funny to know that your basically your boyfriend is the cause of all of this.
Yes. He is.
So it's funny, like in alternate universe, if he had never said anything to you, you'd be playing God of War right now, probably on like give me a I don't know, give me a challenge. No, whatever that middle one is, that second one or
Yeah.
whatever. You probably would have
Yeah.
been playing that.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
I would have been stuck to the normal mode.
Yeah, you would have been playing. You would have streamed Uncharted 4 on normal or something.
Yeah.
So it's all your boyfriend's fault.
Because he created a monster.
He did. He created a freaking ravage monster because you be eating games up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like it's stupid. I was expecting to play Bad Boys on the hardest difficulty if it had one.
If it had one, but it didn't
Did
even
it?
need one.
Okay, good. Like yeah, because the controls that's the ultimate
Yeah.
difficulty.
It didn't even need one.
If I can ask follow up, does your boyfriend play games on tougher difficulties?
Yes, he does all the time.
Okay, so that's okay. So he
All the
challenged you because
time.
he does it. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
okay. You know what? I could get. I still, and he still created a monster, but I could appreciate a fellow, who's like he doesn't care that you're a girl, and he's like, no, you can do it. Fucking go, do it.
That's exactly what he says too.
Well, I don't give
He
a
don't
fuck.
want that.
I don't care if you're a girl. Pick up the sticks. You got this. That's kind of. So I can at least get down with that. He didn't care. He was like,
Nah.
you could easily do it.
Yeah.
What I will ask is, have you ever, or had your boyfriend play Dark Souls or any of the Souls games?
He hasn't yet. I know he started Bloodborne.
Okay.
But he's definitely been telling me how hard that is. He hasn't went back to it yet. That's still on his list to
Mm-hmm.
finish. But he's been giving me I guess from what he played, the amount that he did play from the beginning to where he's at now, he definitely has told me how hard those games are. So
Yeah.
that is on the list. That is on the list to play.
Yeah. The beginning, the early game in all of those is probably the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played two of them.
Okay.
I've only played Demon Souls and Dark Souls, but from what I've seen in my own personal experience with those first two games, the early game is harder because you don't have anything, but the game doesn't care that you don't have anything and will wreck your life immediately. Granted, they're just throwing skeletons and stuff at you, but like 2 hits and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so, and like in your stats are crap. You do very minimal damage, things like that. But like, once you build yourself, whatever stats you're trying to push, and you have a weapon that works with that, and you have some good armor that works with how fast you want to move.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously when you start knowing the game more and stuff too, the game actually gets, in my opinion, a bit easier as time goes on.
Okay.
And especially if you're going back for subsequent playthroughs, because you'll already know what to do.
Expect. Okay.
And because the game's not dynamic, right? If you start a new game once and you do a new game again, it's the same game, right?
Right.
The only thing that would change is how you may be able to attack enemies, whether you want to go magic or, pyro or just all out melee or whatever. And so, but Bloodborne particularly is a different beast because Bloodborne is way more aggressive than any Dark Souls game is. So it takes a bit getting used to. Like it's Dark Souls, but like on turbo mode, more or less, because all the enemies they don't kind of walk around and pace feel you out. They see you, they attack you. They don't play any games. They're not waiting for you. Yeah, it's just if you don't attack them, they're attacking you. So, like that's how that game works. Obviously, I'm dumbing it down. I know the Bloodborne fans are probably like, "That's not how it works." It's like I'm just dumbing it down a bit, but essentially, it is more aggressive. It's more faster paced. So, honestly, I think Bloodborne might be a better start because if you go back to some of the older Dark Souls games, you'll be destroying them because you'll be quicker on the draw than they will.
Okay.
Because Dark Souls is a much slower defensive focused game, whereas Bloodborne is way more offensive and faster.
Okay.
But if you ever play Neo, you holla at your boy because your boy love him some Neo, and I will help you out. I will help you out. I love me some Neo. So if you ever play that, or your boyfriend play that, if you need some help, you holla at your boy because I will help you. Anyway, so that was fun. I just want to just get a sense of that because obviously you play a lot of games on your tougher difficulties, and it's always interesting to get the mindset of someone who does that. Because I mean, it's like a bit of a smaller subset of gamers, you know, who kind of willingly go for that when they play games. Like everything is either top difficulty or like second to top.
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of probably have the same mindset as you. But like when you play games like that, what ends up happening is, at least what I've noticed, because and maybe you haven't had a chance to go through it because you haven't played the game first on an easier mode and then played it later on a harder mode. But when you go from easy to a harder one, you're kind of almost forced to play the game differently, and you have to, and you actually get crafty with how you go about encounters. So for instance, with Crisis on easy mode, I'm just like blasting everybody, just I'm like the lawnmower. I'm just everybody, right?
Yeah.
But I'm playing on Delta where I will die in a few shots. I'm basically sneaking through everything. I'm just stealthing my way past everybody because it's better to do it that way than to go ahead full force, right?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Or I have to like go up maybe some like little cliff sides or something, or go on the water,
Mm-hmm.
swim across the water, and like pick apart a few guys that are in my way in like my stealth cloak mode that the game has, instead of I got to pick and choose where I go, right? I'm trying to
Right. Yeah.
basically encounter as few people as possible through my playthrough. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a whole different way of playing the game, which is cool because the game, it needs you to do that, or else you're gonna have a bad time.
Right. Yeah.
Or as likewise with like something like an action game like God of War or Devil May Cry, it's like on the hard difficulties, you have to like use all the tools you
Yes,
have,
you do.
all of them. Like
You
when I played
really
on,
do.
because when I played on Give Me a Story mode in God of War, I didn't use like any of those runic attacks like ever. I didn't use Atreus' spirit thing like ever.
Oh,
But on the
both of
harder
those
ones,
became.
if you don't use those,
You dying.
you
You are
dead.
dying.
You dead. And so, um, I'm sure, like when you're playing it, like it's like because you got to use, because the root attack will like stun enemies or push them
Yes.
back a bit,
Mm-hmm.
give you some breathing room, or Atreus' attacks will do the same, and
Yep.
or like you have to like build yourself a little bit differently. Like on harder modes, you have
Yes.
to be
Yeah.
focused more on defense because you don't want to die
Mm-hmm.
right away. Whereas on easy mode, I'm just putting everything to attack because I'm not dying. Like, there's no way I'm dying. So like, yeah, it's just really cool how it is. But like, you have to like pick apart the game
You
way
really do.
more on the
Really
harder
do. And then
modes.
it's like, even though I'm starting out on hard, it's like that's how I look at any game that I play on hard, because I know I have to be strategic. Like, I can't just go out there, just run out there and try to kill enemies. I have to figure out, all right, where my move's at. And there are times where I'll find like a good cheese spot, because if you can't hit me, then I'm taking
Hmm.
it. So
No shame. No shame.
no shit at all.
Hey, I'm all about that no shame. I have no shame in anything in gaming wise. I don't care. I grew up with cheat codes, okay? Like, so I don't have any shame. Um, but yeah, I was gonna ask, like, because I know Kratos has like some good like range attacks, throwing the
Yep.
axe and stuff. I imagine you probably use
Hmm.
those a lot because
Yeah,
it's
I
a good way to
definitely
keep your
use those a
distance.
lot. Yep.
Okay, yeah. That's probably all I would do is just throw my axe everywhere. That's probably all I would do. Just throw the axe just a million times. Just I'm throwing the
Yeah,
axe.
because
Like,
playing up close, it's not my cup of tea.
yeah, it really, because it can't be. You're gonna die. Like, especially if you have a few, like a small mob of
Hmm.
enemies. Like, you're done.
Yes, you
Um,
are.
yeah. So since you said you beat it, but you haven't put that videos out, I do want to ask though, how was it with those Valkyries?
See, I haven't gotten to this yet.
Oh,
I
I thought
went.
you said you beat the game. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought
I
you.
did,
Oh, but you're
but
not
I
done.
haven't. I'm not done yet. I just went
Oh,
and beat the story so I can go on to to Ragnarok. But that's still up there. So I'm gonna go and test out these Valkyries and stuff. So I still got my little exploring to do,
oof.
even though I'm completely done. But I still got that to do.
That's the thing. You're not completely done.
Well, with the story,
I don't know,
that's
because the Valkyries
what
kind
I'll
of
do.
play a little small part into the overarching story. So, but yeah, those, even on easy mode, those Valkyries are something else. Like, I was not ready for those Valkyries. I was.
I've seen a little bit of play of it when my boyfriend was playing
Mhm.
against the Valkyries. Lord have mercy,
Yeah,
their
no, you'll be
moves,
praying.
man,
You'll be
their
praying to
moves.
Jesus. You'll be praying to
I was like,
Jesus.
oh my
Easy.
god.
Especially when you get to the queen. Oh
Oh Lord,
man. Oh man, that queen.
So yeah, I have that to do.
You sure do, and I hope you record it because I want to see the pain. Because I need to see that pain. That's gonna be something else. Because yeah, because the Valkyries they're not all the same.
That's
That's
what
the
he was
thing.
telling me.
They're
That's what he was
not.
telling me.
That's what sucks is that they're not all the same. Um, yeah, you got to be on like don't play that at night when you're tired. I'll just say that. Don't play that at 1 a.m. when you're exhausted, half awake. You're gonna have a bad time.
You got to be
You
alert.
come in, drink some orange juice, have a waffle, come in strong, ready to go. Otherwise, you were gonna get smashed. So good luck to you when you get to that, because
Thank you.
that's the ultimate test for
Okay.
anyone's skills on any
Okay.
difficulty that you're playing on. So if you get through that I will metaphorically clap my hands for you when you get through that, because that is brutal. All right, yeah. So we'll move on here. The next thing. So next thing I want to talk about something I don't get a chance to talk about very often with people because I have my co-host, I guess you could say, David. He's not a woman. He doesn't have the boobies, so I can't talk to him about it. But last time I did, I talked to Malika about it, and it was a really good conversation that her and I had about her journey being a female gamer growing up. She's my age, so we kind of grew up around the same time frame, and I remember observing certain things, but she went through it, so it was interesting to get her perspective. So I wanted to ask you also your perspective, growing up being a female gamer. How was it? Was it weird? Did you have issues? Did people make fun of you or whatever? Like, how was it for you growing up?
For me, so when I started gaming, um, I mostly was playing with my cousins.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing with like nobody from school or anything of that nature. It was just mostly around family that I've been playing my games with. But then I ended up taking a break. Um, but even though during that time, I still haven't talked to like other females that were like, "Yeah, I'm out here gaming." Like that conversation never came up.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I got back into the space and I see how big it is and the women's that are playing just like me, like it's like I feel like I'm at home, if that makes any sense. Because it's not, like the odd person. Because I have female friends. Only one of them plays, but I don't think they play on the level that I play on. I think they just do casual play.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't come across any crazy stories. As far as because the stories that I've heard of females and the nasty talks that they're getting in chat and all that stuff is like after hearing those stories, there are times where, well, in COD, especially COD and
Yeah.
Battlefield, I turn off my chat. I turn off the chat. I don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah.
Like I'm just on here to play the game and enjoy myself. I
Yep.
don't want to hear nothing. Overwatch, I had it on when I was playing Overwatch, and then it's like you hear the little comments and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, I'm just like, all right, report and block. So
Instant ban.
you won't even, yeah, you won't even be in my pool to play with. Don't worry. But I mean, that's just my approach on how I take to gaming, just so I'm not even subjecting myself to that stuff. But I know there's females that have been in that space and have had those issues with guys and the things that they've been saying to them and stuff like that. So I have been fortunate to not have that type of experience only because of the precautions that I take.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just to see that, it's sad, really. It's just really sad because it's like we just want to belong just like anybody else wants to belong. We just want to play games. That's all we
Mm-hmm.
want to do. We don't care about, gender or whether or the type of games that we like to play. We just want to play because that's what we want to do and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
So
I think part of it. I think I'm hearing what you're saying. I think reason why luckily you personally seems to be you haven't came across any egregious things to
mhm.
you. And I think part of that might have been because you said you took a break, and it seems to have been a pretty lengthy break.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you actually ended up avoiding like the height of that mistreatment. I'm not saying it's away. Obviously, it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
But having had played in that time frame when you weren't playing,
Mhm.
I can reflect on the past and then where it is now. And even though there is tremendous work to still be done, it is so much better than what it used to be, right?
Right.
Because you want to talk about COD, COD is a great example, right? COD was the old Overwatch as far as toxicity is concerned. Um, you would, I mean, maybe you heard. I mean, like, okay, even away from gender, like just an example of how toxic it would get. Like, you hear going online on COD back in the day, like mid 2000s, late 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
to hear the N word just spun out easy was a regular thing. Regular thing. I even had white friends who were right next to me just spitting out that word online. And I'm like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm right here, dude. Like, what? Why are you saying that? Like, so
It's like then because it's like online. I don't know. Online just gives everybody the I don't know the right
there
wording.
is a sense of invincibility that
Yes.
anyone gets from being
Yeah.
online,
Mm-hmm.
especially white young teenage kids
Mm-hmm.
who already think they're invincible to
Right.
begin with. It's just so it's like they're hitting like radiation levels of invincibility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and but anyways, yeah, like you go online and you hear, just if any girl shows up, it's game over. If you hear any slight high note of a word said in the chat, it's over. It's over. They're either going to be rude as hell, or they're going to be trying to be, all chivalrous or
Yeah.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or awkward or whatever have you. Um, and all of those reactions are the wrong reaction to have.
Right. Right.
There's not a good way. Like, none of those are good. And you know, Malika was strong enough that she was able to hang with. She had her older brother, so she was used to the crap. So she didn't let it really get to her,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And but not everyone has that metal,
Right.
has that
Right.
inner metal, right?
Right.
And not every female wants to play, is able to handle just really how bad that locker room talk can really get.
Mm-hmm.
um, and so they just go away. They're like, this isn't for me, and it's a big reason why a lot of women still don't want to play games like COD or Fallout, not Fallout, Battlefield, or games of that nature, because they're just like, even if the game seems fun, even if they want to play it, they just can't handle that online community, right? And because a lot of that still is still around. But I think you were able to avoid a lot of the worst of it back in the mid late 2000s, because
Yeah.
oh man was it bad. Oh man was it bad. I mean, first of all, it was hard enough to even see a woman at all
Right. Yeah.
in that, and so when you did, it was just over. It was just so bad, like
It's like
just
the
watching
wolves
it
just come
from the
out at that
sidelines.
point.
Really, really, it was. And so, it's interesting, kind of seeing you coming into the fray back in 2018 or so, when a lot of progress was made, or at least the companies were trying to protect people more,
Mm-hmm.
or at least get rid of the toxicity way more strictly than
Mm-hmm.
they used to be. Um, but I do agree with you about the closing the chat, because I do that anytime I play an online game. I don't want to hear a single voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care if you're saying I'm good. I don't want to hear you. I don't
Yeah.
want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't need you shouting my name out. None. I don't want none of that. I just like you, just want to play the game. Just turn it on, play the game, and move on with my life. Like, if I hear, I used to get so bad. Like, if I heard one voice, everyone's muted. Everyone.
Yeah. That's how I am. That's how I am. I was like,
If
oh,
I
I
see
forgot
that,
to turn it off. So
you know,
everybody getting muted.
what I do is I'll leave it. I'll leave everything unmuted until I see that little microphone symbol show up, and I'm like, everyone auto muted. It's everybody, because I've had my name shouted out in matches before,
Oh, really?
whether good or bad. I think usually bad, because I'm doing pretty good, and they think I'm like not doing well, and I'm just like, I don't want to, because I feel like they say my name with like a little extra gusto, like my online name, and I'm just like, ugh. Like, don't single me out. I don't want to. I do nothing to you.
Oh,
Um.
man. Yeah,
So
because
yeah, but yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say the stories that I do come across, I read them a lot on Twitter, like when the girl females be sharing like their stories or
Mm-hmm.
experiences that they currently are going through, of somebody just talking nasty to them, and then in my head I'm like, oh my god, like this is like crazy, but
What you missed was back in the day. Um, ladies would just get, just nasty messages
Mm-hmm.
through like that, the instant messenger thing on PlayStation or
Yeah.
Xbox or whatever. They would just get like a few, like sometimes one, sometimes a string of just nasty, ridiculous messages from like one person too, not from a bunch, but from one person. We'll just send
Person.
like either
Wow.
one or a string of messages about because it happened to just hear a female voice, so they're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's over now. And not even a matter of like, oh, you fucking sucked or this. It's just like saying like, oh yeah, let me give it to you, or like something ridiculous, something just
Yeah.
nasty.
Yeah.
So you missed that, which is good because that would have annoyed. It's more like
Oh, that
annoying
definitely
than
would
anything.
annoy me.
It's just more annoying.
Definitely.
It's like, oh my gosh, another message. Like it's just like, oh my god. But I want to ask, like, what's if you can recall, like, what's one particular nasty story you read or heard from someone else that you can remember?
Mm. It's been so much that I read on Twitter. Um, I think the girl I think she was in a party with guys.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what the game that it was, but and then one of the guys was just saying like derogatory stuff about
Mm-hmm.
her. Like having never met her at all, but just because she must I think she didn't play like the way he wanted her to play or some
Oh
sort,
no.
and then sudden just derogatory terms just start coming out. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. It's bad enough if you're a guy who you're not playing how someone wants you to play,
Hmm.
because they'll get mad at you too and start yelling at you in the chat
Right,
too,
yeah.
right? And say, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you fucking idiot," blah 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 blah. But if you're a woman, oh man, it's even because then they just find a whole bunch of other words to say to you
Yeah.
on top of
Hmm.
you sucking in their eyes.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, oh man, that's just, yeah, and she's not alone. I've heard of that story. I've heard that story many times. I've seen it happen like in videos and stuff like that many times. What I want to ask as well is because this is a conversation that I don't know if me or men in general should be as entrenched as we are, but like I think because a lot of guys like to say part of the problem is that you have for every female like yourself or Malika who just a girl who likes to play games, you have what they dub like the titty streamers, like
Hmm.
those pretty girls with the low cut shirts and stuff
Yeah.
that are maybe they're playing a game, yes, but you could tell the focus isn't on that game.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so a lot of fellas like to point at that, right? And they are
Hmm.
like, this is why, right? Because or they assume, or some idiots like to assume that because those women exist, all women or most women who play games are like that or whatever.
Hmm.
And I wanted to, since I don't know how much I should be involved in that conversation. That seems to be more of a, I think women should get together and discuss this at large, because it seems to affect you guys more than it affects me. It doesn't affect me
Yeah.
at all, right? And so I
Yeah.
feel like it
Yeah.
affects you guys more. So I want to, like, since you seem to be around the Twitter and stuff like that, you've seen a lot of things. Like, how do you personally feel when it comes to like those female streamers or content creators that the focus isn't really on the game?
Um, to me, I just think it just takes away from the female that's actually, out here playing games. Because now most guys is going to be like, oh, that's all that they do, the females. But some females don't even do that. They just want to play the game. Like they're not concerned about if they showing skin and all this type of junk. Like, yeah, you pretty, yeah, that's good too. But at the same time, I just don't want that to be the main focus. I want my gaming skills to be the main focus for me. So to see that, I just think it just kind of gives a misperception of what actually the other female gamers that are out here are currently doing, because they just think that all females do that, which they don't. But you will find it's like when they do find ones that doesn't do that, then I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe it, you're really out here like a true gamer. Like that's just like surprising to them. But it's like you gotta look around. You can't just continue to look at the females that be showing their titties all the time. You gotta look at other females that play games as well, just so you can get an understanding of the whole consensus of females that play games. You have your certain females that does that, then you have the ones that don't do that, and then you can at that point you can determine which ones you want to be more, I wouldn't say supportive, but which ones you would rather be watching
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
Yeah, I also think it's a big, if you want to take it outside of YouTube, it gives some fellas, I think, you want to talk about misconceptions. It
Mm-hmm.
gives them a misconception of what they think a female gamer actually is in real life. Out,
Right.
like
Yeah.
out in the wild.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate enough to know what probably the majority is. Like I've been around, I've been to conventions, I've been to where they really go, and
Mm-hmm.
I know, most of them ain't your Amaranth or your what's her name, Triple S, Sniper Wolf, or Pokimane or whatever. Most of
Yeah.
them are not
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, they're there, but that's not the majority, by any means. And so, but I think a lot of fellas, especially younger guys, I imagine, who don't know as much, haven't been around as much,
Right. Yeah.
they're gonna have a misconception of thinking, if they, like, oh yeah, I want a gamer girlfriend like that one, I saw on
And that's what they
stream.
talking about. Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
man, you're gonna be looking for a while if that's what you want, because
Right.
bro, she might be out there, but you're gonna be searching far and wide to find her. And that's even if she wants to be with you.
Right. Yeah. That's the yeah. Right. Because she has the option. She has the
Yeah,
option.
because you also got to think about, like, if she does look like that and she plays any kind of game, bro, she has a line,
Yes.
a line back up. Okay, like,
Mm-hmm.
so it gives a misconception amongst a lot of guys who are like that, and or who think that, which I think is also the bigger issue at hand. It's just the misconception it gives just guys in general of thinking of what they think a gamer girl is,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and it really isn't. And then, or for a lot of guys who criticize female gamers because they think that all girl gamers are like them,
Do that.
they also
Yeah.
suffer, because then
Yeah.
they also don't know that, no, there are some girls on the grind who are really trying
Mm-hmm.
to just put the good word out there
Because I have
about
seen
him.
other guys, well, guys that have posted and they were talk about those type of girls and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and because they're trying to get their stuff out there too, but at the same time, it's like, well, why she's doing it? And she got all her titties showing and all this type of stuff. I have seen guys complain about that.
Yeah, I mean,
So, but
when it comes to like Twitch streaming,
mm-hmm.
I guess there may be some argument to be made about the fact that, like, it a female, a very pretty female, who, I mean, they don't need to have titties; they just have to be pretty. Um, she, a lot of times, you might like if I'm making a channel for the first time on Twitch, a lot of guys find they notice that it's a lot tougher for them to make attraction than a girl
Mm-hmm.
who is really, really pretty looking girl who may or may not have her titties out. Um, who can just kind of like shoot up the ranks really quickly, or a lot quicker than they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's some argument to be made about that, because it's like, how is that healthy for competition, for just social structures? Like,
Yeah.
how is that
Yeah.
healthy?
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
automatic. It's just like saying it. First of all, it's like reinforcing to women that you can't get ahead unless you do it, and then
Unless you do that, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's giving guys the wrong message about what girl gamers can really are, what
Right.
they might
Exactly.
be, what they look like,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And it just makes the guys a lot of guys bitter. Um,
Yeah.
and don't even get started about the fucking neck beards. Like, I'm not even gonna get into those guys. They're a whole nother subject. But a lot of them have the same resentments, or some guys they get to that level because of things
Mm-hmm.
like this that gets them resenting, or bitter about the whole situation at first, and then it just, obviously, it snowballs like crazy. But it kind of
Mm-hmm.
starts with things like this, you know. And I mean, hey, get your paper, boo boo. I understand that. Do your thing,
Right, that's you.
but you got to understand the consequences that go from doing
Yeah,
things like this,
yeah,
and it's just interesting to when you hear the discussions that are being held about it. But I think I don't have my nose to the ground as far as you do, maybe on Twitter or other social channels where you might hear conversations about this happening. But I think we need to have more official, larger scale discussions. Sorry, women should be having more prominent, larger scale discussions when it comes to things like this, because I don't think we're getting
yeah.
I don't think
Mm-hmm.
we're letting a lot we're not letting enough women voice their opinions,
No,
whether in
no.
support or not support about this, and
Mm-hmm.
then trying to talk to Twitch about, like, you guys got to change things. But then there's a whole other caveat that I've discovered, where, and this kind of affects certain women, not all women, but there are some women who are streamers, and maybe it's gaming, maybe it's something else, it doesn't matter, but they're streamers, and they are well endowed, as we'll put it,
Mm-hmm.
in the upper area, and
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying to cover up as best they can. They're
Right.
trying to cover up. They got the sweaters on,
Mm-hmm.
jackets, long sleeve shirts.
Please.
You
Yeah.
know, you can't get higher necked up. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to do whatever they can to not draw attention, but because they have larger breasts, it can't be helped sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some creators have protested against that because they'll still get flagged either by Twitter's thing or by people in the chat, like probably those fucking neckbeards, who are just bitter at all
Mm-hmm.
women, and they'll report her, right? And then she'll get her channel taken
Mm-hmm.
down or go to strike, and then they'll talk about like, hey, like I don't know how, like I don't know what else I can do. Like I am wearing a turtleneck, like and not even a tight one. Like I'm literally like
Yeah.
I'm wearing the
Yeah.
biggest turtleneck I can possibly wear. Like I don't know what else I can do besides putting on like a freaking bed sheet or something, like and being a ghost while I'm streaming or something. Like so then you have
And
you
I think that's like the issue with Twitch. It's like they don't have a way of knowing somebody that's like really trying to show it off versus somebody that is just not even trying at all. But even though it's just there, it's not like they're out here just, hey guys, look at,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
not doing
yeah.
it out of, just all willy nilly like some of the other ones are. But until Twitch can figure out a way to, I guess, handle that situation, I think it's always going to continue.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. I mean, there's so many different possibilities of what could be done about that, right? It's like you have an
Hmm.
obvious one of like bettering their algorithm because it's not
Yeah.
Twitch employees looking at these streams figuring it out. It's
Right.
it's an algorithm
It's
figuring it out.
it's bots.
Maybe
Yep.
like
Hmm.
keeping more better monitor on individuals who are
Mm.
reporting, and
Yeah.
like if they keep reporting the same person over and
Person.
over
Yeah.
again, then like they can get flagged, and then
Hmm.
like maybe the algorithm can like check into that, or maybe then an employee can check into that
That. Yeah.
and
That. I would say an
and
employee at that point.
see
Like if they
who are they
see what's
yeah,
going
like who are
on.
they
Yeah.
banning, over and over again, and
Hmm.
check that stream out and see why.
Hmm.
And if there is a reason, then okay. But if there's not, and it's like they maybe send that person a message saying like, hey, you gotta stop. Like
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yeah.
hurt you, but you need to stop.
Yeah.
That can maybe be an outlet, but I don't know how much manpower that might take. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either because even when it's not even related to that, I have seen where some people got their channels like either in
Hmm.
suspension type just because of somebody that just decided to report them because they were mad at
Yeah,
them.
just I don't like you today. So you know what? Down
Yeah.
with your channel. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And so it's like, things like that. Because like when a channel gets shut down like that, depending on how big the person is and how much they rely on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
that can hurt you harder than they might
Right.
think it
Yeah.
does, right? To have your
Yeah.
channel down for even a day, can really
Right. Yeah.
hurt you financially. So, it's like that is an option, but I don't know how feasible or how quickly that could be done, but I think at least a good start would be for Twitch to start talking more to the female creators, not just your big ones, not just your Pokemains, like even the
Mm-hmm.
mid-sized ones who have like five
Right.
five
Yeah.
figure sub counts or six-figure sub counts, who aren't
Mm-hmm.
the top 1%, because they get affected
Right.
just as much as the top guys
Yeah.
do.
They do.
And
They do.
like the example I gave with that person with the sweater, and she was at the time she was only like at 45 or 50,000 subs, so she
Mm.
wasn't no big giant name. I had never heard.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I think Twitch needs to get more conversations, in YouTube to an extent as well, but Twitch more so, talking to you guys more,
Yeah.
figuring this stuff
Yeah.
out, hear it from your guys' mouths, not just
Exactly,
quote
because not
inferences.
everybody is doing that. So everybody shouldn't be punished, but that's how
Yeah,
they're
and
treating
maybe
it.
they have ideas that could solve it better than you or I or someone else, like maybe they've had ideas they wanted to pitch to Twitch and they just haven't had the chance to, or the platform to do so, or the
Yeah.
opportunity to do so. So yeah, but it's just, this is why I want to talk about this, because it's I could talk to David about it. We're just two guys just spatting out like, yeah, this is what they should do to stop the women and blah 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 blah. But like, like we could just spat out forever. But like, as a female yourself, as a woman who's gone through, either gone through or seen, can relate very well. Because I mean, this
Hmm.
this kind of trickles on to like, what women kind of face in the workplace, just general workplaces.
Yeah.
Like there are so many stories of women who are just well chested, and it doesn't matter what they wear. It just doesn't really matter what they wear. They could wear the most conservative thing
Hmm.
ever, but It's well,
It can
but
still
since
look.
female clothing is tight by
Mm-hmm.
nature,
Yeah.
just by default,
Yeah.
they're screwed.
Yeah.
so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or for
It can
women who
definitely
who are
go for
thicker
that.
downstairs, like that's it.
Yeah.
That game over. They could put
Like
on.
I can't help
It don't matter what kind of
that.
pair of pants you put on, what trousers you put
Nothing.
on. Since they're tight by default, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
be. it's just gonna be there. You
It's
can't
gonna
you
happen.
can't
Yeah.
stop it. And a
Yeah.
lot of women report getting mistreated by HR, especially if the HR person is run by an older woman. Like it is
Yes.
definitely bad. But they get reported all the time, and it's like I don't. What do you want me to do? Like I don't want to wear
Right.
men's clothing. So what do you want me to do? Like just not eat until I become a stiff? Like and so obviously these issues aren't the same, but it's a similar problem
Similar. Yeah.
where
Mm-hmm.
women are kind of like some women, a lot of women are kind of at a crossroads of what to do when it comes to like apparel and how they're looked at online, because a lot of women are
And
just
perceive. Yeah.
attractive. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just they
Mm-hmm.
are like a lot of people are attractive just how they came, and they can't. That's not. And so, like, what I'm supposed to be ugly? Like, like, that's stupid. That
Like
makes
I
no
can't do
sense. Yeah, that makes no
that.
freaking sense. Why would I be ugly? Like, what?
I just want to be me.
Yeah, I'm just
That's
this not.
all I want to
I'm just
be.
me. Like, stop it. Leave me alone. But like, or maybe they're just they have some curves in various places, and that's just what they have, and they're
Yeah.
getting punished for it. And so, again, like that's not something I can really talk to, and that's not something a lot of guys can really talk to. So it's like I
Mm-hmm.
don't. That's why I feel like yourself, a lot of other women should start just that should be more in your guys's
Yeah, because this one
vernacular.
incident I came across where this female, I think she had got up
Mhm.
to go pick up something from out her that was in her room, that was around her room, but just because she ended up turning around, Twitch thought she was trying to show her
For
butt, but
real?
yes, for real. But then so she said, I think either her account got suspended or banned for a few days or whatever it was. So now she said she just had, when she get up, she have to stand up. Literally, she showed herself literally standing up and then just backing up to where her butt is like not even shown on the camera. So yeah, it's like pretty
Damn.
ridiculous.
And was she even
Yeah,
like a thicker girl or anything like that either, or was she?
she was,
Oh,
but
okay. I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm not.
but it
I'm
wasn't.
not saying this excuse. I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering
Yeah, she
because
was,
if she was thinner
but it
and she
wasn't.
still got banned, I would have been like,
Mhm.
you know what though?
No, but she wasn't like she was trying to do it on
Yeah, no,
purpose.
I get it. No, like I was
Yeah.
saying, it's not an excuse. I just want to make a joke if she was thin, but but yeah, no, that's kind of an example, right? It's just like, why do I have to go through all of these hoops
Mhm.
just to stream and not
Yeah.
get banned? It's
Yeah.
like that's the
Yes.
point. Is like they have to go through all these hoops, and it's just like it's crazy, and
Really crazy.
that's just one facet of just being a woman in this gaming sphere. Like I said, it has gotten better, but like for the fact that you guys actually have the ability to play games in a more safer
Mhm.
environment, that's a
Yeah.
huge step up, because
Yeah.
there really was nowhere you guys could go to just play games and feel you're not going to get attacked
Right. Yeah.
everywhere. But obviously, there's so much more work that needs to be done. But then it's like, how do you keep? Oh, on one hand, it's like, okay, some people would be like, okay, get rid of all of the titty streamers, get them out there, right? But then you have people
Mhm.
who are saying like, well, why can't they? They're hot and they want to show off their bodies, let them do it. So it's like, oh, but not. It's like,
The
but
middle ground.
yeah.
The
So
middle.
that's the problem, is finding this almost impossible middle ground to
Yeah.
reach, so that no one or the least amount of people can be upset or offended as
Mhm.
possible, because you're
Right.
gonna make someone mad.
Yeah, you gonna make
So
someone mad.
it's just, how do you figure it out so where the least amount of people are mad? So
Yeah.
that's not something that I can answer. I think that's something that can only be answered with getting more collaboration and thoughts from women who are in the gaming sphere,
Yeah.
whether they record or they stream or they whatever they do, but they're in that environment, that community. I think that's probably the best way to solve that problem.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, so that was a lot to talk about, but I figured it would take a while, because that's a whole, as you guys can see, like it's just so much to unpack. Just
A
women
lot.
in
A lot.
gaming, it's and that's been before you get into the racial subcomponents
Yeah.
underneath that, which is,
Mhm.
it just never ends. It just never ends. And speaking of race, our last topic today will be on the Forspoken demo. So came out 2 weeks ago around this
Yep.
time, from this recording, about 2 weeks now. It was released on the day of the Game Awards, which was on the 8th, I believe.
Yeah. It was the eighth.
Um, And so she played it, I played it, and we wanted to talk about it a bit, not just the demo itself, because everyone's going to talk about the demo, which is fine. But we're going to talk about what we haven't really seen a lot of people talk about is, the importance of this game. Because as you guys have noticed, it stars a black female protagonist. When was the last time you played a game with a black female protagonist? It's like, I'll wait. I mean, there's a couple. You got Michonne from the Walking Dead sub little miniseries. And wait, can you play as from Deathloop? Can you play as the woman in that game?
I don't know. I have that game. I haven't started it yet, so I'm not
I don't.
sure.
Maybe her. Maybe I don't even know. Maybe. You pointed out when we talked there was the DLC from Dishonored 2.
Yep.
You played as a black woman as well. I can't think of anything beyond that though.
Yeah,
Like
me
I really can't.
either.
I really can't. Like whereas like where it was like a meaningful, poignant, character, not just maybe a sub character or a side
Right. Yeah.
or in a game that doesn't matter or something. Right. This is a AAA game starring a female black protagonist, and it's very very rare when you get that. Excuse me. So what I wanted to talking about, as a perspective being a black female yourself, how do you feel about it? Good or bad? Like, are you worried? Are you happy? Are you waiting? Like, just like, what are your thoughts after playing it and what you know about the game so far?
All right. So when it was first introduced, I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a cool game." And then I was like, "I get to play as her too." I was even more excited.
Mm-hmm.
But as it got pushed back and delays happened and things of that nature, and then the demo finally came out and I was able to play it, then I began to worry. I began to worry about the how it's going to be received.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be a game that everybody will get behind and potentially be in that list of game of the year? Um, Mainly because of she's a black character
Mm-hmm.
that's very is rare at this moment. But as I play it, that's really what the emotion that I got from it was really the worriness behind it on what this game will actually do when it first when it's first out there and it launches and stuff and people get to play it.
You bring up a good point that I didn't think about before, about like, game of the year contender or something, right? The
Mm-hmm.
last thing I want is like for this game to do okay,
Mm-hmm.
but then come next December, it's on like the list for like some game of the year award, because I'm gonna know that is just them pandering,
Mm.
and I don't want them to pander. If it's
Yeah.
not a good game, it's not a good game.
Right. Yeah. Base it off of just that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just because it's a black female protagonist doesn't mean it automatically goes up to the top of the awards.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right. That doesn't do us any favors.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think we're past the point where you need to give us favors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Way
you
past.
know, like
Way past.
we're past that point. We don't need favors.
Mm-hmm.
What we just want is if you're gonna represent us, then do it right from the get go.
Right. Yeah.
And you bring up a good, yeah, that was a good point. You brought that up because I was just thinking that I didn't think about that before. Because like that's the last thing I want. I don't want this game to do okay at best, but somehow still be in the
It's
awards
still in the list. Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
Especially because like you didn't deserve it, so don't pander to me. Like that was the big issue of Last of Us 2, winning
Ah.
Game of the Year
Okay.
a
Mm-hmm.
couple years back. Because I mean it was a big controversy because you had a lot of neckbeards and whatever, being upset because they were just like they thought their job was just pandering to the LGBT community like a little too strongly, and like in the game really wasn't that good, but everyone was just pandering to that crowd.
Yeah. It really wasn't.
Um,
So yeah, that's why I was kind of like shocked.
yeah, I mean, I haven't played it myself personally, but I've heard enough about it to know to kind of like maybe hear that argument a bit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I think I still need to reserve myself till I play it, but I will say the inclusion of playing as Abby as your main other playable character was probably a huge misstep.
Yeah. It definitely was because the moment that I started playing as her, I wanted to be like, okay, when do I go back to play Ellie? Oh, like that's the only person that I cared about playing. I
Yeah,
didn't care about playing as her as much.
yeah,
And
I,
then it just seemed like her part just. I mean, I know they have to give the backstory and all that stuff, but I just figured that they just took too long with her part just for you to get back to playing as Abby. as Ellie.
Yeah, and
In
since you
that
played it,
game.
if you could tell me, is Abby also gay, or is that not even like discussed or revealed?
In the way they portrayed her love story as if she's not.
Okay, but I do know she is jacked,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that still is a big rifling, a big disturbance in the force amongst gaming. Still, if you have like a female who is not of a female, whatever we think of the
Yeah.
female, she's not dainty by any means. Let's put it that
No,
way.
she in the
That
gym.
she will beat you up. Like I would not want to find Abby like in the
Yeah,
Dark
she's
Alley.
definitely in the gym.
She would beat my ass like easy. I've seen them biceps; they're not a joke. So I know that was a big deal. So people thought like they were pandering to that, even though she's not apparently possibly gay. I mean, she is. Then correct us in the comments, but it doesn't seem like that she is. So it's like, but they still thought that since she wasn't being portrayed as like a dainty, more female,
Mm-hmm.
traditional female proportion woman, they were thinking, oh, you're just pandering to all these different crowds and minorities and blah 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 blah. And because like they weren't mad at Ellie because Ellie was already revealed as gay. That was already
Mm-hmm.
known, so they couldn't have been mad at that. So maybe the way they did it, I don't know. Maybe we're just not used to seeing a lesbian couple in a game like being featured
That
prominently.
could be, yeah, that could be
Like
part of
it could just be
it.
just part of the shock of just like,
Yeah.
yo, like unless this was a BioWare game, we're not used to this. Like because it was really just Mass Effect and Dragon Age where that was kind of like okay.
Okay.
Because those games are all about that stuff. You can be
Mm-hmm.
you can smash with aliens as either woman or man. You can be with men as a man, woman as a woman. Everyone's up for grabs. It don't matter. And the same with the Dragon Age. So like in those games, people don't care. But anything else, it's like, whoa, hey there, let's hey, calm the brakes. So that could have been it too. So, but the point is that they thought they were pandering, and so I would not want a repeat of this for Forspoken.
Right. Yep.
Um, because with the uphill battle we've already have as far as getting proper representation,
Mm-hmm.
it's the last thing we want is a handout. That's
Right.
not
Yeah.
going to help us. I would rather you guys bomb the game and learn from your mistakes and make a better
Mm-hmm.
game with a
Right.
black protagonist than you make a bad game and the game awards are just like, well, it has a black female, so game of the
And think
year.
it's okay, and then now you come out with another one, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Nothing has changed.
yeah. So that's I don't want that. Um, so what made you feel worried? Like, I mean, specifics when after playing the demo.
Mostly because of the backstory. I say it was really quick in the demo.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll go to even more detail once the game launches. I hope that they do,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just the way that the demo started, and they give you just little rundown of her backstory, and then all of a sudden you're just in that particular world fighting. So that's what has me worried, because
Mm-hmm.
with stories, if it started off the way that it's supposed to, as far as showing the character, how they were brought up, where they're headed, where they're going, what they're find out, then I'm able to insert myself in as that character and be able to you know play based off of what was given to me as far as story wise. But if that's not given, then I don't feel as attached to the character like I need it to be.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that, and this is probably more of a criticism of the demo itself. I don't think the demo really did a good job of really anything beyond just showing you the
Mm-hmm.
cool world you're in and
Yeah,
showing you the powers
yeah.
you potentially can have in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as story or personality or motive, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
And now part of the
yeah,
problem that I also had too. I was like, why are we here? What's going on? Like, what's up? Like, it's like I don't know what's going on. Like, and
yeah.
not everyone keeps track of all the trailers that get announced, which I don't even know if they've even had that many trailers and updates on this game.
The only one I know they had like a gameplay trailer.
Something like that, right? And
Yeah,
so I'm just like,
that came out. I don't know when they came out, but I know it's like fairly recent.
I still don't exactly know how she gets to this crazy world
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And because I remember talking to King Linaflux about this on the phone a while ago. I was saying, like, if they don't do her justice, if they don't bring in part of how she grew up in the Queen, I don't know, Queen Anne's or the Bronx, I keep forgetting which one it is, but a borough of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not going to make it a point of how she is as a character, then why even do it?
Yeah.
You know, you could
Yeah.
have. I would rather have a generic white guy, you know, than have like a black person who's from like, you know, tough part of the country,
Mhm.
but you do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's got to
Yeah.
be a point. Like I remember from the first time they announced it, they had specifically mentioned that she was from the Bronx or wherever, right? They specifically, I
Mhm.
was like, okay, if you're going to mention this, there has to be a reason.
Yeah, it has to be a reason. It has to be.
And so, yeah, the demo didn't really do a good job of like showing us her, you know, and how she really is, why she's there, the motives, stuff like that. So I did feel kind of like I didn't feel motivated to do anything in the demo, to be honest with you. Like I only did like, I first started like the first mission or thing they wanted you to do, and I did some like found some little treasures in the map. But
Mhm.
then after that, I got utterly bored, and I was like, let me just do the other things, the main things they want you to do. Because I was like, well, maybe I'll get some story something out of that. I don't know. And then I didn't, and I was just like, what is this demo? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I haven't played a demo in a long time,
Me neither.
and
Me
especially not a
neither.
demo for an open world game. And so I don't know if this is just how it goes or what, but I know how an open world game plays. I don't
Mhm.
need to be shown that.
Right. Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
new. What's new is your potential story, is your
Yes.
character.
Mhm.
That's what I wanted to know the most.
Right. Right. Which makes me think they're trying to save it for launch. But that's why I just hope that you are able to see more of that when the game actually
I
launches.
hope so too.
Like I hope it doesn't give that same little cutscene
Oh
where it
gosh,
talks about her
no,
story and then all of a
no,
sudden
it
you're just
can't.
there. I
It
hope it
can't.
does not
It
do
can't. No, I will. I'm not getting this game day one, but like if I did, I would have ejected the game immediately. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I hope there's a good like prologue intro area where you play in wherever it is, the Queen Andrew
Yeah.
Bronx or whatever. Uh, I do hope like a good maybe chapter or two is there,
Yeah,
like
that's why I hope
starts
so too.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you maybe have to do some things that actually allow you maybe some maneuverability tutorials or something, and also just what I want most is like to see how she just talks without
Yeah.
that stupid British thing talking to her from the
Yeah.
demo.
Yeah.
Like I want to just know, how does she talk to people that she's used to talking to, you know? Does she
Mhm.
have a little bit of hint, a little swag or something in, you know, in her voice, you know?
Yeah.
Is she kind of cool? Is she more, you know, maybe shy? You know, does she have a BF or a husband back home or something? You know, does she have
Mhm.
a family? Does she live with mama? You know, or whatever. Like, I want to know all this stuff because Black culture is very unique in this country.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know, and so I want to see how they may be choosing to represent it. That's what I want to know because this is made by a
Yeah.
Japanese developer, and they don't have the best track record of doing us correctly. Not wrong, like on purpose, but just they don't know how to do us correctly a lot of the time. So because there's no black people in Japan, there just aren't. Like, so I'm just curious to know how they're gonna do it, like how they're tackling this, you know. And if they give it a good shake and maybe not everything hits, I can live with that.
Mhm.
I rather take that than what
Yeah.
you said, and it's
Yeah.
just that same 30-second cutscene and just like, yeah, I was in the Bronx and then and I'm back in F. I'm like, no.
Like what
I don't want
happened
that.
though?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, what happened? But what happened though? Yeah, so I can feel your hesitancy. Do you feel particularly like strongly or like wanting this to succeed as since you are yourself, you know, a fellow
I
black
do.
woman yourself? Okay, cool.
I really do.
I was wondering about that, which is totally valid. You know, like I would shoot. I think I would. I don't really get too attached or get too excited for a game to succeed if it's a black man for some reason. Like I just don't care. I don't care. Like when Deathloop came out, I was like, oh, it didn't
Mhm.
even dawn on me. I was like, oh yeah, another black guy. I haven't seen a lot of those in a long time. But for some reason, this particular game, I don't know what it is. I mean, Arcane Studios, they're I think a European studio. I don't know where, but and I'm not saying there's a lot of black people wherever the heck they are located at, but for some reason, I
Mhm.
don't know what it is. I think I had more scrutiny over a Japanese developer making a game with a black protagonist than I do with some European one. And I don't know why that is, but for some reason, this particular game just has my eye, and I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting more woke. I don't know. Because like I said, I did not care about Deathloop, even though that was probably also a very monumental thing too. But the thing is, you don't. And I remember when Deathloop came out, that wasn't talked about either.
No, it was
About
not. It
the
really
fact that it was a
wasn't.
black male protagonist and a female main. I mean, even, I don't know if you played as her, but she was still like the main other character in the game.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, yo, like video game industry is like one of the most, at least on the surface, woke industries around.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the articles about this? Like, like praising, especially Deathloop. Deathloop got like 10 out of 10s in some outlets, and some of these outlets. It was top. I think it won Game of the Year a few times from some places. Like, so it's like
Mm.
for a game, especially for a game that came out as good as it did.
Yeah.
Where are the articles? Where are the articles from you fucking game and journalists and publications talking about how the lack of black representation in our games, and how they actually a lot of times actually come out pretty good,
Yeah. Right.
especially for Deathloop to have been a Marvel masterpiece starring some really good black actors or voice actors as the lead roles. Where is that, guys? Come on. Come on. You guys are so quick to jump on when someone from 10 years ago call someone gay, but you can't talk
Yeah.
about
Right.
like, when black people get to actually have some good achievements in video games. Come on, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
They hushed on that.
Yeah,
They
real
hushed
quick
on
hush on that, huh? Like, where's not a peep.
it.
So yeah, like, it's just so I also hope it does well. I again, like, the demo didn't leave me very strong. Not just with the combat was too much for me. Like, I was just thrown. I was just
Well, when I first started, it just confused me.
yeah, I was just
I literally
confused,
was confused.
utterly confused. And I think that's also an issue of just having kind of just getting thrown into a demo, which
Mm-hmm.
who knows how far into the game you actually are at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, yeah, I imagine the full game would ease you in more smoothly,
I
and
hope so.
hopefully you don't start off with two sets of different magic powers right away. Like, I was trying to get my
Right.
hands
Yeah.
on one.
Yeah. Right. I was
And they're
like, man,
like, hey, just so you
there's
know,
so
you
much
have a
going
whole nother
on.
set of magic that you need to
Yeah.
use because some enemies are weak against it. And I'm just like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
what? And then it's like, hey,
You be over there shooting resistant.
yeah, and
I'm
it's
like,
like,
what?
wait,
Wait.
you also have defensive magic you can use. Like, what
Yeah.
defensive magic? Like, what do you mean defensive? Like, oh my god, this is so much magic. And what sucked was one of the magic powers you can use. It basically acts like a sword, more or less like a sword.
Yes.
I was like, I just want to use
Yeah.
that. I just want to use that all the time because it's a sword.
Yeah.
And
That's what I wanted to
I like
use.
swords. Like, that was the easiest to use. And then
Yeah.
like I can't because some enemies are not weak against it. I'm just why, why?
And then I was just having issues with the VRR. I don't know if my
VRR.
yeah, it's a setting on PlayStation 5. I
Okay.
don't know what it stands for, but when I launched the game and when I was fighting enemies and they would do like their big
Hmm.
attacks, my screen would just go completely black for no reason at
Whoa.
all. And I'm like, what is going on?
Weird.
And so I went and turned that off,
Uh huh.
and then it just begins to run smooth at that point. But I don't know why it does that. So I'm hoping that I don't have to turn that off when I finally get the game and play it. But I definitely had to turn that off for to even just finish the demo.
What is VRR? And you remember what that was?
I don't
I can't
know.
recall. Remember, because I remember I got into the settings too. I messed around deep with those settings, which I will say that was the good thing about the game. There was a lot of settings you can do with that game.
It definitely
You
was a
can
lot of
cater that game
settings.
exactly how you want to play it.
Oh,
Which
it's the variable rate
oh, the refresh
refresh.
rate. Oh
That's
yes,
what it
yes. I
is.
think that's more of a TV thing rather than your system, or maybe a combination of both. Um, I don't know what I did with that.
Yeah, because my monitor though is like a 1080, I think.
Hmm.
I think it's 1080, but for some reason it just wasn't able. It wasn't able to handle when they would do their like big attacks. Any other attacks was fine, but it was just those big one attacks that they were doing with their energy balls or whatever they were throwing, and it would just send my screen like completely black.
Weird.
It was just so weird.
Very weird. I don't know. Yeah, maybe do some little bit more research
Yeah,
before you use that again.
yeah.
Yeah, like Yeah, again, I was just saying, like, man, they were just throwing way too much at you. And some demos start off at the beginning of the game, and
Hmm.
I think I would have wanted that, to be absolutely honest
Yeah,
with you.
I would rather have that than what they gave
Yeah,
us.
for as far
Because
as
at
much,
least I can get like what I had, right, what I think the game can start,
mhm,
be further
mhm.
along in the story or whatever. But if they would have just done that for the demo, I think I probably would have a different perspective than I do right
Yeah,
now.
or like a tutorial, like a separate tutorial
Yeah.
section, not having it
Mhm.
baked into the main demo, like having something separate from that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was a lot. Like, apparently, King, he figured it out because I didn't even mess with the skill tree. I took one look at it. I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. Like, I barely understand the combat, let alone these skill trees and all these other things you can do. And I mean, but I can see the potential. I can tell, like, if you get it all
Yeah.
down,
Mhm.
there is a lot to work with here. And I could
It
tell
is.
with how
It is. It's very technical.
very and with how fast the game moves, I can
Mhm.
tell, like, once you get it down and you get all these other abilities and you can switch between magic really well, I can imagine it's going to be super fluid, super stylish and fast with magic attacks
Mhm.
everywhere, kind of like a DMC, honestly. Kind of remind me of Devil May
Yeah.
Cry,
Yeah.
just with magic. And but it's just like, how hard will it get to that point? That's what I want to know. Like,
Right.
will
Yeah.
it be easy to get to that point? Because Devil May Cry, I haven't played a lot of them. I played a couple, and no matter, even when you get to the very end, like, everything still is easy to figure out.
Okay.
Very simple to do everything you want to do in Devil May Cry, even if it does get crazy deep, and complicated. It's still not that hard to figure out. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping this, in the main game, it kind of eventually plays out that way. Um,
I hope so too.
I do too. I mean, for everyone who's gonna play, so I'm not playing this game day one. I'm not. I don't know.
No, I'm not playing this day one. I'm gonna wait a while.
Oh, you're gonna wait too? Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting a while.
Yeah, you've been keeping
I
your.
mean, it was on my list as a day one
Mhm.
cop, but after playing the demo, I was like, I'm just gonna wait a while,
Well,
wait a while to see.
I know King is going to play day one, but I think only because he's particularly smitten about that about our main girl, which I don't know what's her real name. She's an actual actress, isn't she?
I don't know her real name.
Apparently, she's an actress. I think because he knew all about her before.
Ah,
He knew her
okay.
from the. She was like, "Oh, that's my wifey right there," and I was like, "All right, man." So I know he's going to play day one. And so I'll
Okay.
get his thoughts and see, how he's thinking about it. It probably won't be on the podcast, but I'm just going to talk to him about it and see how it is, and maybe I'll message you on Discord about it or something.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
unless I mean, I'm sure you'll probably see stuff on YouTube and stuff as well, Twitter. So yeah, but I hope it does well. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, it's coming out next month,
At the
and
end, yeah, I
really
think
haven't
about a month from now. Um,
I haven't seen where I guess you can say the what you call it, the advertising has picked up. I really haven't seen
I
it
have,
picked up,
yeah. This
but
game has been quiet.
it just seems so weird. It just seems weird. I
It,
mean, I
yeah.
know when they first show it, was it the Game Awards when they showed it the first time?
Hmm.
Was it then? When they first introduced the game, that's when everybody was like super hype
Oh,
about
you mean
it.
like its first showing?
Yeah, like its
I
first
believe
showing.
it was at the Sony showcase from like a year or so ago.
Yeah, so
I think
that's when
that's when it
everybody was
was.
like really hype about it, and they was so eager to play it, and
Hmm.
then the delays started happening, and then now it's just like crickets
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, you just haven't not heard about it at all. And I mean, I always remembered it. Like, someone was like, "Oh, that's Forspoken." I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember Forspoken," but like,
Hmm.
otherwise, yeah. And I think it's Square Enix. They haven't really done a lot of updates, like
Promotions, yeah,
publicized updates for us about the game. No, gameplay trailers or dev diaries or anything like that.
yeah. Because I
And
didn't even know that they had like another trailer that came out that was like strictly talking about the gameplay. I didn't know that trailer came out, and I didn't even know that the demo dropped until I saw somebody post their video talking about about them playing the demo. I didn't even know that had even came out because it was just so under the radar.
yeah, I mean, it was a. I mean, the Game Awards is getting bigger and bigger every year, but it's still, like, obviously not going to reach everybody.
Hmm.
And so, like, yeah, if you didn't watch the Game Awards, you would have known
Right.
about it,
Yeah.
right? Because that's when it was announced. I think that's a good place to announce it, but obviously you're not going to
Yeah.
get
Right.
everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And even if you had put an article out on it, it still wouldn't have reached everybody. So I mean, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter how else you
Yeah.
do it. But yeah, we'll have we'll have to see. And I'm worried. I'm hoping that the lack of Square Enix publicizing this game more is not a hopefully a bad sign. You know,
I hope not. I hope not. I
or
hope
Sony for that
it's
matter, because I think it's a PlayStation exclusive. So Sony also hasn't really been tooting this game either.
no.
And I'm
No,
hoping
they
this isn't
haven't.
because they know it's not that good, and
I
they
hope,
don't want to
and I
waste
hope not.
advertising.
I hope not. That's the case. I hope not. I hope this is one that's just like a gem that's just there,
Yeah,
and waiting for people to play it.
I'll even take rough around the edges. I'll
Yes,
even take
I'll even take that.
I'll take rough around the edge, because even that I would feel okay if it did end up
Mhm.
on some some game of the year list, nominee list.
Mhm.
I'll feel good if it was on that, if it was at least rough around the edges.
Mhm.
But if this game comes out to like mediocre, average, or worse,
Or worse,
oh
yeah.
man, I'm gonna be
Oh,
so sad.
I would be disappointed.
I'm gonna be
Huge disappointed.
so sad. Yeah.
Very
So
disappointed.
yeah. All right. Well, anyways, we'll wrap it up here. This is gonna be this week's podcast, everybody. Hope you guys had a good time listening, having our special guest, Fiery Saji. No, Seiji.
Saggy.
Sage. No, Saji. Saji.
Saggy.
Yeah,
Saggy.
because Sagittarius. Yeah, Saji.
Yes.
Saji. Yes.
Saggy.
Fiery Saji on the podcast. We had a lot of fun, talk about some good stuff, some deep stuff, and that was the whole point. I knew I was going to be able to talk about some
Yes.
good, deep, real stuff with her, and that I can't normally do all the time. And so it was a joy to have you.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up here?
No, guys, but make sure you check me
Check out your girls. I will have her video or her channel channel in the description, as I do with all my guests, or at least I hope I do with all my guests. And yeah, she's still putting out God of War 2018 on her Give Me a Challenge playthrough, which is basically
Yep.
like the second hardest or hard mode, whatever you want to call it. She's getting through that. We'll see how she does with the Valkyries in due time. I think I think that's all I've seen. What else? Is there anything else that I'm missing that you're playing, or that you put out? Or is
No,
it just that?
that's
Okay.
that's
I
the
want to make
main
sure. I
thing.
want to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, she's playing that. Check it out. She's killing it on that hard. She's a better gamer than most people. I'll just say that right now. Okay. It's like more consistently good. I
Thank
don't
you. Thank you.
I'm not playing that stuff on those difficulties. Don't even get me going. I mean, you won't find me there. All right. You're not gonna find me on, unless it's Guitar Hero or something like that. Like, that's the only thing I'm playing on hardest mode. Okay. Um, but yeah, so a lot of fun here. Check her out, guys. Be in the description below. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. And with that, take care. And also, Merry Christmas. This video will probably be
Merry
out after
Christmas.
Christmas, but Merry Christmas anyways. Hope you had a good Christmas or a good holidays or whatever it is that you do. And with that, see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.